Welcome to the Real Show. I, of course, am fabulous Freddy Fame alongside me, Hobo Hank, and we're excited to announce the July 15th event at the Historic El Rey Theater. It'll be a clash of two Titan tag teams. Hobo Hank, how excited are you for this upcoming July 15th?
I'm excited, Fred, and I don't think I'm as excited as some of the fans are. We've had buzz ever since the last show. So, yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of work behind the scenes to put this one together, but everybody is excited. The roster is excited. And matter of fact, the ring is already set up at the El Rey. So we're ready to rock.
Duke City Championship Wrestling was well received after their first live event. So many individuals in attendance, over 300 at our inaugural show. We know the numbers, Hobo Hank. We are currently on pace to not just surpass that, but really blow it out of the water. DCCWtickets.com. You've been a part of a lot of organizations as far as the startup to this one and a buzz around just our second live performance. Have you seen a more singular or unique event, Hobo Hank?
No, never. There's been so much feedback from our fans. The number that we opened up with, I was hoping for 200, and we surpassed that by a mile. And like you said, we put up tickets for sale for the July 15th event, and I wasn't even aware that they were up yet, and tickets were being sold. So people were just waiting to grab the seats that they wanted. This time we had the benefit of an extra week. So 4 weeks of sale time versus the 3 weeks last time. So we're looking good.
Top of the billing on all the posters you see around town is Hobo Hank and Thunder versus Charlie 50 and Phoenix. But we have a lot of show before our main event, Joe. You just sent me the card as it's currently established. Let's go over what's going on July 15th. Let's talk about who's going to be there and some new faces that are coming to the promotion.
Yeah, you bet. So, first of all, I'd like to thank everybody that's out there. I'm blown away more than anything, Fred, is our the event that we posted on our YouTube channel in its entirety. I checked just a while ago. We were at 4,200 views. So
that's unreal.
Yeah, I mean it's insane how quickly that kind of blew up. So, thank you to everybody who's watched it and shared it and watched it again. And we were lucky with the ProView network to be able to put that one out in its entirety. So this show formatted just slightly different. We have episodic television to keep in mind. So we've got this will actually turn into 4 separate episodes, which will air every Saturday morning. So it's laid out just a slightly different, but for the crowd that's there in attendance, it'll feel very much the same as the first event did.
Well, and I tell you what, to piggyback off that, this is the way you and I recognized it growing up. This is the way when I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, that wrestling promotions were produced, and it was in an effort to be able to get out to the live event, and that's to enjoy the fellowship, that's to enjoy the merchandise, that's to enjoy the experience, and then go and then not just relive the event, but see it from a different viewpoint and perspective and the storytelling aspects. Because what we're producing live at the Historic El Rey Theater, we're supplementing it alongside the broadcast, right? So we're bringing some new talents. We now have a new in-person interviewer, which we're very excited about because we're bringing in a lot of new names. And that's going to be exceptional and fun because we haven't necessarily seen it done that way. We're going to have backstage vignettes. We're going to have a lot of opinion and post-match analysis. So the event that you see in person is not necessarily going to be the same as the TV product that you see at the very end, and how very excited we are to get multiple reviews on it from the same individuals.
Absolutely. And again, everything you just said, I don't know a better way to put it other than, DCCW is literally years ahead of its time. All the companies that I've worked for in the past, it has taken them several years to get to the point where we're at.
Right.
And we're already there. This is show 2. So I don't want to give away everything, but we have a lot of new merchandise out. I know we've already kind of released one of those things is on Instagram, right? We have DCCW hats will be available at this next event. I've got a couple other Hobo Hank related merchandise that will be unveiled that night as well. So we've been working hard to plus everything up, not just the actual show for the in-house, just all the way around. So Yeah, you don't want to sit at home and watch it solely on television because there will be segments you're going to miss. There'll be matches you're
Right.
going to miss. We're not going to televise everything.
No, we absolutely won't. And we were talking about bringing in some new talent for the broadcast. Fernando Gonzalez will be joining us on the broadcast. He'll be holding that Mean Gene Okerlund role, where it's the in-person interviews. Those that are familiar with Geeks Who Drink, Fernando is the national voice of Geeks Who Drink. So he does the intro. He does like all the trivia questions that are all video-esque and all that kind of stuff. So he's just a world of national talent, and how fortunate we are to have him locally.
Agreed. You know, you sent me clips of him last week, and I was able to
Yeah.
kind of preview him. He's got an awesome voice, so I know he's going to be a perfect complement to the broadcast itself. But you know, again, just this is another way for us to plus it up, to give you an opportunity to kind of get to know some of the competitors in DCCW at a little deeper level. Give them a chance to talk on the mic and do their promo and get their character out there. So I'm excited for that.
Before we jump into the show, two big thank yous. Number one, to those on social media who have given us the effort to like, share, and obviously share that word outside of. Those who are interacting with us live right here on the Real Show. Big shout out to friend of DCCW, Chris, who's with us in the live chat. Thank you, Chris. You know, we're so fortunate to do these things for everyone who is excited about the product. Lastly, big thank you to Jimmy Hart. You know, I was able to host the panel. Me and Chris Burnett, the commissioner of DCCW, were able to host the Jimmy Hart panel last week, and I had never got a better rub from anyone, Joe, to the many in attendance. He was so very kind to us in our promotion about his professionalism and the product that we created. I don't know if there's a better promo piece in the game than Jimmy Hart, so that meant a lot to me personally.
Agreed. It was very cool to see pictures of him with you guys and with our poster. I actually got to talk to Thunder this weekend, and he said, "Man, I can't think of anything much cooler than to see a poster with me on it in Jimmy Hart's hand. That's pretty neat."
So incredibly cool. Match one. We're going to start this thing off. So you tell me where to stop, because I don't necessarily want to open presents before Christmas Eve. But we're going to do a non-televised starter to this thing, so it's incentive to get there early. So the doors will open at 6, the first bell at 7:30, and you can hang out with us all night long, as we'll be right outside at Inside Out, celebrating the night away, the night of July the 15th. The Fonzie and Plex match to open, that's going to be a lot of fun. Two really good competitors.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to kick off the show right. You know, Jerry Vendetta and Enrique Delgato did such an incredible job of launching us on our first event. So, yeah, Fonzie, you've seen last time he was with us, you know, and a local Albuquerque favorite. And I'm bringing in Plex. So Plex comes from Colorado Springs, I believe. Or I'm sorry, Pueblo, Colorado. So don't misrepresent. So he'll be making the drive to join us, and a brand new face to those of you who've never seen him before. So I think you're in for something special just to start the night off.
And speaking of Plex, he's a guy who's been around the game for a little bit. He's got a lot of talent here in the Southwest. And a big thank you to everyone who's reaching out to us via social media. If you're a performer in the ring, if you're somebody adjacent, the number of people who are interested in making wrestling gear, the number of people who are interested in making apparel. Joe, you and I were privy to a conversation of a local artisan who wanted to make Hobo Hank armpit candles. Like there is a fandom for the sport. So thank you to everyone who's making the effort, including Plex, who is now officially DCCW. So we're excited to have him.
You bet. And I've been hit up by talent all over the nation, right? We were talking to somebody from Missouri 2 days ago. So got a lot of wrestlers that want to join us. In fact, our next event, which I'm not going to spoil the date on that at the moment, but I probably have that event, 2/3 of the way booked, and we're not even to event number 2.
Yeah, and we teased it a little bit, and we'll talk further about it. But the local organizations, the businesses that have come out that want to be a part of those as well. So it's not necessarily the performers in the ring; it's all of the support that comes from the Albuquerque community, including some really good legacy businesses. So we're excited to bring them in, and we're going to incorporate them in a really classy and fun way. So that's going to be excellent. Big thank you to everyone who's in the live chat with us. We're excited to be here with you. Obviously, we do this kind of thing regularly, so we appreciate your feedback, and we appreciate what you do after the fact of this. So if you would like, share, big 5-star reviews go a long way with us. So if you're at youtube.com/DCCW, go ahead and click that thumbs up, leave a comment on there. It helps us a ton. Mr. Happy in the live chat with us, and he's not a man of many words, but he loves the woo-hoo. He's here with us. So as we continue our night on, we're going to have a lot of matches, right? We're going to have El Diablo Blanco, and he's going to go up against Chris Watson. Talk to me a little bit about the continuation of that story, because the way it left off after our first event, I'm on the edge of my seat, and I think this is an exciting idea to let these two guys continue to battle it out.
Yeah, our first event, left was there 7 of us out there in the ring. We had El Diablo Blanco, we had Charlie 50, we had Phoenix, of course myself, Mosh Pit Mike, Thunder, and Chris Watson. So I thought what a cool opportunity it would be to kind of mix up what we saw that night. Veronica Vega is still with us, right? She's going to be back for this one. And she'll be accompanying El Diablo to the ring. So I think that's going to be a really interesting dynamic with the 3 of them out there.
Yeah, I agree completely with that. Also, at the beginning of the night, and make sure you're in your seats, Jerry Vendetta and Enrique Del Gato, 2 dudes that whenever you give them enough space, they take advantage of it, and they're going to do it at the Historic El Rey Theater. Talk to me a little bit about the importance of this leading off the night after the dark match.
So Jerry Vendetta, Enrique Del Gato, like I said earlier, they kicked off our first event with such a bang. And if you remember, Del Gato got the quick win over Jerry Vendetta. So I thought it was a good opportunity to put him back in the ring and give Jerry that opportunity to possibly get his win back. So, I would expect a different match this time. Maybe not as fast as the first one. So I'm excited for that one.
What I really enjoy about the idea of having a rematch so early in this thing is everything we do, it's the first time we've ever done it. So it's exciting to say, hey, who is the first win in DCCW history? Well, I know the answer to that trivia, and I'm not necessarily going to give it here. Go back and watch. Be one of the thousands upon thousands of individuals who have absorbed the program on YouTube. We're so very appreciative of you. Also, if you're part of our live chat right now, it's getting kind of weird. So there's a lot of support for the referees. That's different to me. But if that's the live chat, that's the live chat. We continue the night. Sid the Kid versus Turbo Tony. Turbo Tony, I thought, was maybe the standout of our opening night performance. He came out, he said a lot with a little bit of words, and then his performance in the ring. Talk about the importance of Sid the Kid coming in, and I think how quickly he's going to become a fan favorite.
Yep, Tony's always he's always a heel, right? He's going to rile up the crowd big time, and a total pro. And we got Sid the Kid. So Sid is no stranger to wrestling fans in Albuquerque. He's been in and out of DWO. He's been in and out of DWE. Right. He's made the appearances, and he's from Albuquerque. He's excited to be a part of this one, and I'm excited to have him. So I think that's going to be a great match from 2 guys that have been in the ring for a couple of years now.
I didn't know the highlight of my opening night was going to be the intermission, Hobo Hank. It was so incredible to me throughout our first live performance at the Historic El Rey Theater, which you and I had been so fortunate to work alongside each other for so long to set it off. The intermission might have been my highlight. It was fans from the Albuquerque community supporting our Albuquerque product, and they were doing handshakes and high fives and selfies and ussies and groupies, and I could not have been more upheaved with emotion than I was during that. And we're going to go into our intermission on our second live performance, wrapping up with Valak Vile and Happy the Clown. I don't know if you could set a better break for the middle of a night.
Yes, I remember the feedback specifically from you and a lot of the fans about intermission. I also remember the feedback about Happy. So Happy, I know you're out there listening. We love you, man, and Albuquerque loves you. So and what's funny is the wrestlers on the show, they're hearing all this stuff for the first time, by the way. A lot of them don't know who they're wrestling or what position they're in. So if they're paying attention, this is giving them a heads up. But yeah, Happy, that's a very important spot. Opening the show is huge, and then going right before intermission is huge. You guys are there for a reason, buddy, and I'm excited for that match. Valak and Happy, they have such cool characters. They have just so many things in their arsenal that they can do that are just so off the wall. That match could go all kinds of different ways, from a TV formatting standpoint, that'll be one of the featured matches. So it'll basically be a main event on one of our Saturday morning programs.
Whenever we come back from the intermission, I would encourage everyone to finish their smoke breaks early because we're going to get right back to action. But here's the thing about us right here on the Real Show, Hobo Hank, we're not going to spoil it. So this is where we're going to leave complete surprise when you return from intermission on July the 15th. But do not miss out. Do not be late. Don't let your restroom break run long because this is as excited I've been for what we're trying to do here at DCCW. And I'm going to say no more.
That's all that needs to be said. I'm excited too. We'll leave it at that.
Love everything about it. We'll then go into our 7th match of the night, and this is a big 8-match night. We had the exact same formula on the first night, obviously bringing in the new faces. And speaking of Lord Michael Taylor, Mosh Pit Mike is going to have his hands full. This is leading up to the main event, which is the big tag team match with yourself and Thunder versus Phoenix and Charlie 50. Give maybe a preview to new DCCW fans on what Lord Michael Taylor is going to be at the Historic El Rey Theater.
Lord Michael Taylor. So he and I have never met. We've never been in the same room. However, the opportunity to book him landed in my lap, and I jumped on it quickly. He's from the Midwest, so he's actually flying in for this show. He's got a lot of experience. So he's a very classic wrestler. More along the lines of, I kind of got like Lord Steven Regal type vibes, maybe.
Correct.
Just that classic a wrestler's wrestler. And what a cool kind of, position to put him in with Mosh Pit Mike. Crowd favorite. Mosh is crazy. He can wrestle. Don't get me wrong. I've been wrestling with the guy for almost 30 years, but he can also get a little wild. So I think that's just going to be that light and dark and complete opposites. It'll be good.
I think from what I've seen and all I've been able to see is what's available on the internet. I don't have insider info that exists to any degree outside of what's available. If I was to use a terminology, which I will in the broadcast, gentleman grappler. He seems like a guy that has it together, and the sport is fortunate because they have him. So Mosh Pit Mike is going to be in a tough way. And then I'm rooting for you, Hobo Hank. You're a friend of mine in shoot life, and you're a friend of mine in work life. And I tell you what, there's no possible way that this thing can come to a conclusion so quickly between you and Charlie 50. A tag team match is not a fitting in, but I'm excited for the continuation of this story. Talk about the first tag team match in the history of DCCW to finish our second event, July the 15th at the Historic El Rey Theater. Talk about you and Thunder versus Phoenix and Charlie 50.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this. So, I think Charlie and I had I think the word that was being thrown around online was a classic match last time, and that meant a lot to me. Phoenix is a hell of a worker. Thunder, it's 25 years in the business. So between Thunder and I, we're 52 years we've been wrestling. Thunder and I have been tag team champions for a couple different organizations, different times. I got a lot of feedback about tag teams, right? I was the one. There was 2 things I heard loud and clear after the first night, and one of them was tag teams. So I wanted to give that tag team launch the proper credit, I guess. And I'm just excited to kind of continue the story that we started there. And we have, for those of you who were at the last show, we talked about some other people that could be involved in that storyline. Matthew Robles' name came up, and there's a couple other kind of relationships that revolve around some of these individuals. So, we'll see how it plays out. There's just, Fred, it's there's so much stuff going on right now after our first show. And, we've got people have asked about belts, and I've answered that question. Yes, belts are coming, right?
We'll have a debut. we will physically have the belt before the July 15th show. Is that belt going to be made public? I don't know if the timing's right yet, Joe. Or excuse me, Hobo Hank. But what I do know is that, it's we're not here to kind of do it. Like, we're here to absolutely do it. And I have the proof. I know exactly what this thing looks like. It is beautiful. It is as strong as a championship belt that you will see in the world of professional wrestling. And that's why it's not just the Duke City Championship, it's the Duke City World Championship. Like, this thing is important.
Absolutely. And it'll get the credit it deserves. So, when that becomes part of what we do, then, that'll kind of direct some of the booking. So there's just so many different ways we can go in the future. And do I know where we're going? For to the most part, but I'm even surprising myself along the way. I'll put it that way.
I love everything about that. I love that you were able to give me 20 minutes of your time tonight. Big thank you to everyone in the group chat. Hobo Hank, it was it was for our first live one about as good of a back and forth as I think we could have received. Also, this group chat could have been a show in itself. There's conversations between many a DCCW fan here, so that means a lot to us that there's such an excitement so early. We got a bunch of new partners coming in. We're going to talk about them at length. We're really excited for some upgrades we're making to the TV product. Obviously, the live event itself, we're going to make a lot of fun upgrades. If you were a part of the 315 who were in attendance at our very first episode, our very first live show, what are we going to have now? We're going to have more seating is what we're going to have. So we're able to get a little creative. So if you had a general admission, you now are going to have a possibility, if you arrive early, as at a table or at a stand seating. Our GA standing is going to be on the upper tier, which is going to be kind of fun for those individuals up there. I know you didn't get a chance, Hobo Hank, from your perspective in the ring, but the view from up top, I mean, that's a premium seat in itself. So there's going to be a lot of options, not just for you, and not just, you DCCW fan that's new to the product, but for those that have been there before. If you want to see from a different opportunity, you can. You don't have to sit ringside every time. You can sit wherever you want. Also, if you do intend to sit ringside, you might have missed your opportunity. DCCWtickets.com. Tickets are going insanely fast. If they're not all already gone, it's in the works. So I would encourage everyone, DCCWtickets.com. Go get your tickets 5 minutes ago. Because this show, I think opening day, we sold 100 of them. Opening day.
Yeah, that's about right.
We're wild. It's absolutely wild to me. Hobo Hank, anything we missed as far as the breakdown of what fans in DCCW universe could see on July 15th at the Historic El Rey Theater?
I think we covered it pretty well. Just again, we, Chris Burnett, Aaron Burnett, Fred, and myself, we have all, hey, Jeff the Riff, little shout out. Thank you for being a part of DCCW, buddy. We appreciate that. Jeff flies in from Dallas, just FYI, to ref these things. So,
oh my gosh,
gotta love that, man. There's a lot of commitment from these people. But no, I mean, I just want to kind of drive home. Two things. Number one, all the feedback that we got and observations that we made from the first event. The thing about the four of us is that we do work hard, and we work every day. Every single day we chip away at this thing, outside of our own jobs and lives and everything else. So we're trying to improve everything across the board. Will we get them all this time? Probably not. There'll be more, but we'll continue to get better. And then, the other thing I would just say is to remind all the fans that, if you guys want to see this thing keep rocking and rolling, we need your support. So keep liking, sharing, subscribing. The subscribing is huge. But then, just tell your friends, drag them out there. So, getting 3 people to show up to a WWE show doesn't mean a whole lot to them, but, do the math. Three extra people, that's 1% to us. Yeah. So, bring them in, drag them in, and let them experience that live event. And hopefully we can get them hooked. And we'd like to get to the point where we're selling, 500-600 seats to the El Rey. Because, like we've said on the show before, we have aspirations for not to leave the El Rey. That's always going to be our home base. But we have aspirations to run a bigger event at least once a year. So we've got to get to that point.
Starting the organization, obviously being the promoter, being in the ownership group, I guess because I showed some interest in a thing, I'm now the most foremost expert of pro wrestling in the city of Albuquerque, which is a surprise to me. But the number of TV interviews I've done, the number of radio interviews I've done, the angles that people have offered me from outside the business proper to speak upon pro wrestling. 13-year-old me is as happy as I could possibly be about 38-year-old me. It's been a fun experience. And you were talking a little bit about feedback, and you were talking about implementation of ideas. A lot of the stuff that you're going to see moving forward in the July 15th show, the seating is a prime example. A lot of the stuff we're going to see moving forward, it's from suggestion from who? The DCCW fan. So maybe it's the four of us putting in work. Maybe, and I don't know if you want this public or not, but I'll say it right here, Hobo Hank, you're literally working on this thing while you're with your family at Disneyland. What? There's a commitment to this thing that's real fun and it's real special, and we're real excited about it. This is a fun one here. So from the live chat, friend of DCCW, Roy, he's talking about he's talking about Mike London. And Mike London is a historic name in Albuquerque wrestling. And I only recently learned it, Hobo Hank. If we are being whispered in the same group as some people who did it with such longevity and so very well, going to be kind of a cool opportunity for us to meet that expectation.
Yeah, agreed. There's two names historically speaking that kind of revolve around the Albuquerque area, and Mike London is the promoter. He's the one that's known for having put on the huge events at the Civic Auditorium back in the day. The other, of course, being Ricky Romero, kind of the face of that organization. And so, we've talked about that before. I grew up around Ricky. I knew him for years, worked for him for years. I have nothing but respect for both of those people. I never met Mike London. Of course, we did not overlap in life, but, I know what he did here, and I know the legacy he left behind. And so everything that we do is completely respectful towards both of them and just honoring a legacy that they left behind.
Love that. Tell two friends, like, subscribe, share. I have an individual in my life that I was talking to you about the question was to me, Hobo Hank, Fred, what is the draw? What's so entertaining? Well, let me show you. Let me explain it to you. And actually invite two friends with you. Don't come by yourself. Here's the thing. Those two friends you invite, they'll already be excited. The penetration of pro wrestling into the lexicon of everyday life is so incredibly high. I don't necessarily know if everyone knows it, but everyone's got a story. Everyone's got a connection. And I'm excited that you and I and Chris Burnett and Aaron Burnett and the Historic El Rey Theater and now all of our new partners are able to continue that excitement for a long time to come. And we're going to do it July 15th at the Historic El Rey Theater. And if you don't believe us, Jimmy Hart told you. So it's got to be true.
You know what? The best thing about this business, right? I wish we could have been in the same room. The greatest thing about this business and the entire point of doing it is to create memories for people. And we appreciate you guys letting us do that for you last month, and I appreciate the folks that have already bought their tickets to allow us to do it again this month. And I promise you, if you part with your hard-earned money, I absolutely. I see that and I appreciate that. And I won't let you go home feeling like it wasn't money well spent.
I agree completely. Joe, thank you for the final words. Thank you to everyone who was with us on the broadcast of The Real Show. Do not forget, July the 15th, Historic El Rey Theater, DCCWtickets.com. All kinds of updates at DukeCityChampionshipWrestling.com. For Hobo Hank, for myself, Freddy Frame. I blew up my own exit. Freddy Frame. That's not even a thing. Freddy Fame. That's going to be the T-shirt that some fan brings.
Hobo Frank and Freddy Frame are signing out. That's late.
Don't hate it at all. It is. Hey, we got it in, though. That's what matters. Good job, everyone. GG.